What can someone do then to help them identify what is impacting them from their childhood in their adulthood?
Yeah, so that's how I see triggers as being so beneficial. I know none of us like being triggered. I sure don't. But every time we are, it is an opportunity for us to go back to it. If when we take time to reflect, when we take time to feel it in our body, like an hour or two later, whenever that is, it doesn't have to be an hour or two later, it can be days later. But when we reflect on that, when we allow ourselves to feel what we felt like when that person, you know, we felt humiliated by that person for whatever reason or whatever happened, we can go back to an imprinting memory, and it gives us an opportunity to set the record straight and remove this shame that doesn't belong, that is not native. It's not supposed to be there. And the other thing I was going to say is, it is when we're children usually that this happens, and it's because children have zero objectivity. So if we have a mom who has postpartum depression, the child isn't able to say, "Oh, mom never attunes to me because she's depressed." No, children don't have that objectivity. When we're adults, we can see that very clearly in hindsight. Mom was really struggling herself, blah, blah, blah. But a child always takes away, "I'm the problem. I'm defective. I'm lacking."
And that's hard, right? Because in this part of the world, and I went through this really young or younger than maybe a lot of people do, is that you have to realize that your parents are people. They're not
Mm-hmm.
perfect. You have to take them out of the glass box, I like to say, and just view them as just regular people. But for some people, that's a struggle. I've heard, and maybe you've heard this, Brown, that people say that, oh, that's just my mom, that's my just my dad, and they're doing the most toxic of behaviors, the most chaotic things to other people, but we justify it, we dismiss it just by saying that they're our parents. And you mentioned this earlier. Do you find that some people struggle with viewing their parents as regular people and maybe holding them accountable like regular people?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have people who only come to me for a session or two and then they bounce because they are not wanting to see their parents as they really are. And the reason for that, Train, I believe, at least in my situation, um, is they don't want to feel the feelings that they would feel if they took their parents off the God throne, because they'd feel a lot of anger, they'd feel some rage, they might feel a lot of hatred, and they don't want to feel the shame that they already feel. So they're just dissociating. That's a way for us to all dissociate from our feelings. And dissociation, can serve temporarily to, it can serve us in a way, but it's also what we call denial. It's also a way to deceive ourselves, and it will ultimately hurt us. And I'll tell you how it will hurt us. When we are in denial, when we refuse to feel our feelings in any way, well, you can't just selectively shut down certain feelings without actually shutting them all down. And we will shut them all down. We will be unable, people who are in denial won't be able to feel joy. And you know what else they won't be able to feel is empathy for their own kids. And they will likely repeat some of the very same patterns that their parents did to them. Because when we shut down our own feelings and don't feel empathy for ourselves, we can't actually feel it for anyone else.